So, for the last week or so, I've been out of commission because of COVID, and I missed a whole lot because of that. So we've got some things to catch up on, but thankfully this particular topic ties directly into something that happened today and is very, very much, current news worth talking about. So I'm glad that I have the opportunity to catch up on stream and then cover the more recent ground, because it's I would estimate, and I think most of you would agree, related. So, one of the biggest events that happened this week was the China balloon, alright? For those that don't know, a spy balloon, this is at least what I understand of the story from what I read on Twitter as I was scrolling through Twitter on my phone, sick as fuck on the couch, watching old Simpsons episodes from the first 5 seasons. It's good shit. My understanding is that China sent a spy balloon over the US, and it, went all the way over the US, and people were like, shoot it, shoot it, shoot it, and then as it went over North Carolina out over the coast, it got shot down by a fighter jet, and it's been scavenged. That is my understanding of the situation, though I have not watched any news reports about it or read any articles. So yeah, let's look at the CNN clip on this whole thing, because kind of fucking scary, huh? That China's just sending fucking weather balloons with spy cameras on them over America, and just saying hi. I mean, to be fair, what are they going to see you can't see on Google Earth, you know?
Tonight, intelligence from top-secret U.S. spy planes is providing startling details about China's spy operations. We are learning that images taken of the spy balloons by high-altitude U-2 planes show in detail 5 antennas and huge solar panels, the kind of technology that gave the Chinese not just the ability to listen to U.S. communications and to pinpoint exactly where they were coming from.
Okay, so this was not a spy balloon in the sense that it had a camera on it trying to get a look down at the ground of America. This was a proximity detection type of device that was being used to track communication and movement within the aerospace around it. Okay. Yeah, it's an even bigger problem. That this is a beyond a national security risk.
Who they were coming from. All of this especially alarming as the balloon passed over sensitive military sites before the U.S. Air Force shot it down.
Yeah, I'm sure that was by design.
And of course, we now know there have been other balloons where that one came from. And these new details come as China is forcefully pushing back against President Biden's very public criticism of Chinese President Xi Jinping at the State of the Union. Out front now, Will Ripley, who tonight is in Taiwan.
Fiery new rhetoric from China, escalating the suspected
Free
spy
Taiwan
balloon scandal. Beijing blasting President Joe Biden for criticizing Chinese President Xi Jinping.
Can you think of any
No, they wouldn't do that.
with Xi Jinping? Not a joke. Can you think of any? Who would? I can't think of one.
I really wish Biden had some energy, dude. I wish before all his media engagements, they gave him a caffeine pill. They must, right? This must be him on a caffeine pill, right? There's no way they don't give this guy a caffeine pill before his media engagements. If he's if they're not doing it, they need to be, because believe me, it'll help. He's just tired. I'm not even talking about his stutter or anything like that. You can't stop having a stutter. Even I have a minor stutter. I'm talking about how, he's very quiet and his voice doesn't have much power in it. Even me with COVID, I feel like I was able to project my voice a little stronger, and that's not necessarily your lungs being weak. That's not having energy. He sounds tired, sleepy, he didn't get enough sleep last night. He was up all night signing bills or something.
This man has enormous problems.
China says Biden's remarks are highly irresponsible and violate basic diplomatic protocols. Problems complicated by a growing pile of evidence. Pieces of the downed balloon pulled from the sea off the Carolina coast.
So I assume, not anyone could have shot this thing down, right? This thing had to have been up in, the fucking stratosphere. People were taking videos of it with their phones, it seemed like. So I was wondering, when I first saw videos, I was like, okay, wait, so could someone actually shoot that? I feel like some good old boy in Texas with, a Barrett 50 cal, it's against the law to shoot, that in the air at such a velocity and angle, but you deal with it. You deal with the Chinese spy balloon. depending on how low it is. I heard people were taking pot shots at it. Oh, they absolutely were. There's no way when it went over Texas or like anywhere in the Midwest, people weren't taking pot shots at it.
Proof, the Pentagon says China's weather balloon claim is nothing but hot air.
你的第二个问题，美方的这种言
A
论。
Chinese foreign ministry spokesman says, I have no knowledge about America's claim that this balloon is part of a fleet. I think it could be part of the information and public opinion war that the U.S. is waging against China. The international
Tankies are like so true.
community can see clearly who's the world's largest espionage and surveillance country.
I can assure you this was not for civilian purposes. That is, we are 100% clear about that.
There's that.
The U.S. linked the balloon to a vast Chinese military surveillance program, a growing list of global balloon sightings and questions. The U.S. believes many balloons are launched from China's Hainan Island, where a U.S. spy plane made an emergency landing in 2001. China took 3 months to investigate before returning the plane in pieces. Now, China is attacking the U.S. for shooting down its balloon and sending the pieces to an FBI lab. The spokesman
Are they trying to goad us? What is the goal here? Does China think it stands a chance? Like, legitimately, what do you guys think the goal here is? Like, they may be number 2 in the world military-wise, but they're a not close number 2. Yeah, like what are you doing? What are you trying to do? Yeah. What is this? You doing a little trolling? I hope it's a little trolling. It better be. For your own sake. Like, the only way China beats us in like a full-on military mobilization war, I don't even think America would have to do a draft. We have so many troops in reserve and so many volunteer troops and so many people who would volunteer. I think that we could win in a full-on military war against China and not even have to do a draft. Like, if it was a real fucking war, like one that we're fighting to win, you know, not an Afghanistan, not a Vietnam, one we're fighting to win, you know? China has nukes. The only scenario where China wins is ending the world with mutual nuclear destruction. And honestly, I don't know exactly how China's nuclear launch works, but I know that there has been a prevented case of nuclear annihilation by one guy in a Russian missile silo saying, no, this is a glitch in the system, let's not launch the nukes. And it was a glitch in the system, but he was lying. He was lying because he wasn't sure if the reader he was. You guys may know the story. I don't know all the details, but anyway, even then, like, I'm not even entirely sure that if the orders were called to nuke another country, if there are that many people on Earth who would be able to do it, like when the time came. I don't know. To end the world, and it's you doing it. That would be a big weight on whoever has to press the button, you know?
It says the U.S. insists on using force to attack Chinese unmanned civilian airships, which seriously violates.
Yeah, Stanislav
international
Petrov was a
practice and
Giga
sets
Chad.
horrible precedent.
Didn't launch the
U.S.
nukes.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin asked for
Well, he
a phone
didn't call.
with China's defense minister.
To be fair, he wouldn't have been the one who launched the nukes. He called the Kremlin and said that it was a glitch, which was a lie. He didn't know that it was a glitch, but it was a glitch in the end. It ended up being one, and so his lie ended up saving the world. But yeah.
Beijing bluntly declined.
And well, it's a precarious moment, and I know that you have been learning that Xi Jinping was directly involved in this program. And in fact, this program is not new. And in fact, balloons flying over the U.S. Spying from China is not new. But just how much did Xi Jinping know?
He's
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking
leader
about
of the
more
country.
than 40 countries across 5 continents, according
He
to
knows.
a State Department official, these
It might have been
balloons
his idea.
Gathered intelligence. This program has been going on.
Probably not his
with
idea.
President Xi's direct knowledge. However, lawmakers briefed on this have been told that this particular balloon at this particular time.
You know, I really wish that China wasn't so, overwhelmingly authoritarian. Like, could you imagine if China had, a workers' revolution? Like, with the population, economy, wealth, and like power and resources, like everything that China has at its disposal, if like there was a workers, even reform, just some sort of workers reform there, and quality of life, the level of micromanaging of every single person in society, the surveillance state, the authoritarian laws, the racist and anti-religious freedom laws that they instill on their citizens. Like, if they just had a massive flip of like quality of life for the people who live in China in that sense, it would be fantastic. Like, I would totally be on board with China being better than America. I would be screaming from the mountaintops that China is better than America. But it's just objectively not, even from a leftist perspective. There's a lot of lefties out there that'll try to convince you China is like the closest example we have to modern day socialism, because they have a planned economy by the government or whatever, but or essentially controlled economy. But like, there is no worker ownership of the means of production. There is no workplace democracy. The quality of life for workers is extremely bad. Like, it's just not what we fight for. It's not.
May have been dispatched without the knowledge of Xi, and also without the knowledge of senior People's Liberation Army and Communist Party leaders, Aaron.
Damn. Well, that was a good, whoa, stop that. Why China is losing the microchip war. Isn't it because, like, all of the microchips are made in Taiwan? That's a worry, right? Because couldn't China just kind of invade Taiwan and fuck it up, and then it's like, oh, there goes, like, 90% of the world's microchip production. Your 4090 now costs $100,000 per unit. Anyway, that is not the end of things, though, because, of course, you know, the China balloon got shot down. There's, of course, a fleet more, apparently, and there have been more before. However, something recently happened earlier today. Another high-altitude object, called a UFO in this case, by multiple media outlets, which is pretty funny, but to be fair, UFO just means unidentified flying object. They also use UAO, like unidentified aerial object. Anyway. Basically, we've got another CNN segment here about it. I know nothing about this. I've just seen, like, the sensationalist headlines. For all I know, it could be a fucking alien spaceship, okay? Let's watch this.
So what is NORAD's responsibility, and what's the framework through which it determines a course of action?
UAP, thank you.
Michael, it's good to see you again. It's been quite a week for the commander of North American Air Defense Command. Essentially, their responsibility is to provide aerospace warning, ensure air sovereignty, and then protect the Canadian airspace as well as the continental United States. So they've certainly had their hands.
How nice of us to do Canada that favor.
In these past 2 weeks.
Of what significance?
We're like the big jock that protects the little nerdy kid from all the bullies.
Significance in this instance is the altitude.
It's a great question, and that's what the differentiator was between the Chinese spy balloon and this particular undesignated flying object so far, in that.
Okay, so it was below the altitude of the so you guys can't see it beyond the chat, but here 30,000 feet is your average airliner, like just average commercial airline flight, right? 40,000 feet, so 10,000 feet above that is where this current new object that was shot down above Alaska was floating. And then all the way up at 60,000 feet, 20,000 feet above that, 30,000 feet above your average plane is where the Chinese spy balloon was. Yeah, you definitely can't fire any guns 60,000 feet into the air, I don't think. I don't know if there's a gun on Earth capable of that, except maybe. No, I don't even know. There's no way that even a World War I era, like, super gun that was meant to shoot positions hundreds of miles away could even get that high. Rockets could, but, like, we're talking about a gun. Like something that shoots a projectile that hits something, using the momentum it got from propellant or from the basically with nothing but the momentum imparted from it that when it came out of the barrel.
This object that was shot down yesterday was about 25,000 feet lower than the Chinese balloon that entered U.S. airspace about 2 weeks ago. So that puts it at about 40,000 feet, and that makes it a possible collision hazard for commercial airliners. So that was the logic for shooting it down once it was identified as being uninhabited.
Are there other civilian objects, other meaning beyond aircraft, commercial aircraft, at that level? I'm trying to ask and not be so naive, but how much stuff is floating around at that height?
Well, not a lot. I mean, but 40,000 feet is, particularly over Alaska, one might think, well, geez, Alaska is way out of way of everything. But when you think about it, airliners fly what are known as great circle routes. So when you have airline traffic going from the East Coast of the United States, say, over to anywhere in Asia, Japan.
Fake news, the Earth is flat.
China, Australia, Thailand, India, they head over Alaska. So it is a concern that any object flying in that airspace, particularly if it's not controlled, like it appears this one wasn't. Quite frankly, the classification of this object is pretty quizzical because first, there's been no indication of its origin. Second, it was described in the short news conference that the Pentagon had as not resembling an aircraft, but then again, they didn't confirm that it was a balloon. So it will remain an unidentified flying object until we get further verification of what it might have been.
Interesting. We've got to follow the story. Has there been any updates on this since I brought this article up before stream? Because I brought this article up about an hour before stream. UFO Alaska has been identified an hour ago. Oh no, this is bad. UFO shot down near Alaska by US. TikTok running with theories. An unidentified flying object, literally a UFO, was shot down by the United States just outside of Alaska. Whoa, TMZ. But it isn't another balloon. Wait, I gotta read it my TMZ voice. But it isn't another balloon. And TikTok is having a tinfoil hat field day. Here's the deal. The White House announced Friday that President Biden had ordered the downing of yet another object in the sky that was inexplicably in our airspace, which the Pentagon said posed a reasonable threat to civilian aircraft due to its altitude, 40,000 feet. It's so hard to read in this voice, it's hurting my throat. I'm going to stop now. It had been spotted and surveilled by U.S. intelligence / Alaska area military Thursday, and the next day, JB said take it down, which an F-22 fighter jet then did without issue. As for what exactly it is, and more importantly, how the government is talking about it, is shrouded in mystery, as White House National Security Council spokesman John Kirby described it to the media as the size of a small car, but didn't offer any more details. We have a thing here from the Associated Press that includes a press conference, I believe, where John Kirby talks about, this is what we know so far, I suppose. We should watch the press conference. I assume this is not protected by any copyright. I mean, it's a fucking press conference.
Afternoon, everybody. Just a couple things here at the top. So I can confirm that the Department of Defense was tracking a high-altitude object over Alaska airspace in the last 24 hours. The object was flying at an altitude of 40,000 feet and posed a reasonable threat to the safety of civilian flight. Out of an abundance of caution and at the recommendation of the Pentagon, President Biden ordered the military to down the object, and they did. And it came inside our territorial waters. Those waters right now are frozen.
What are you joking about, Minimum Volts? You're Australian. Do you think when China comes for you, you guys are going to be okay? You guys think just because you have a lot of land and emus and snakes, you're going to be okay? Listen, you Aussies better team up with us just like you did back in World War II, all right? We're going to need everybody. We're going to need Australia. Well, we don't need them, but it's going to be nice to have them. Australia, Canada, the Brit. You got to remember as well, if China actually does go to war with us under any scenario, we have, like, all our allies that are probably going to help. Not all of them, but at least quite a few of them, you know? They have our properties, Anne. They stole your stuff? They own our shit? Oh, no. Oh no, you guys have already been conquered. Damn it, they got you.
But inside territorial airspace and over territorial
China
waters.
owns Hightail?
Fighter aircraft assigned to U.S. Northern Command took down the object within the last hour. We're calling this an object because that's the best description we have right now. We do not know who owns it, whether it's state-owned or corporate-owned or privately owned. We just don't know. We don't know. As I said, state-owned. We don't know if it's state-owned, and we don't understand the full purpose. We don't have any information that would confirm a stated purpose.
What if, like, in a week we see a new Mr. Beast video and it's, I made the world's biggest weather balloon and the U.S. government shot it down?
For this object, we do expect to be able to recover the debris.
You guys know that one day there is going to be a press conference about something that happened in America, and then a week later the Mr. Beast video about it is going to reveal that, oh shit, it was caused by a Mr. Beast video. Not that it'll do anything wrong, just that there'll be, like, something big will happen and people don't understand it, and like, the boomers freak out, you know? That kind of shit I feel like is bound to happen at some point. Like, Mr. Beast is gonna make a homemade rocket and launch himself into space, and like, the Air Force is gonna be like, the fuck?
Since it fell not only within our territorial space, but on what we believe is
Mr.
Beost water, so a recovery effort will be made, and we're hopeful that it'll be successful, and then we can learn a little bit more about it.
How cool. Well, it really does seem like we don't know, like, an insane amount about this UFO that has been shot down over Alaska. But let's hope that it's just another Chinese surveillance balloon, because I don't think we need aliens. I think I'm really cool with, like, aliens coming along when I'm, like, 50, you know? Like if the world's gonna end, maybe because aliens come, I want to be, like, 50 years old, you know? I feel like that's a good age. Why 50? Because if they come and they don't mean peace, then it's you know, I've lived a pretty long life, you know, at 50. Most of my family members have lived to around between 50 and 60. So that seems fair. Why would aliens want to talk to us? We're kind of lame. No. I'm going to be completely honest. I think the idea that aliens would be uninterested in humans is kind of stupid. We have entertainment and jokes and knowledge about, like, our own evolution that will be interesting. Whenever we find a new type of ant, we know how all types, we know a billion types of ants, and yet we're still interested when we find a new species of ant, okay? There is no way that if aliens found us, they wouldn't be interested in us, okay? All life in the universe is very clearly anomalous, from what we can tell. Life is clearly not common, so if there is other life out there and it finds us, we're gonna be interesting. Of course, then it really depends on how big you think the whole universe is and how theoretically fast travel can get. It's very possible that just warp jumping to random locations ends up being the like the future of like travel, right? Like, no one gets around by just going anymore. Like, there is no, like, exploration is still super slow, but if you want to go somewhere that you know, you can just put in, like, the coordinates and warp there, you know, instantly. Just search the Dark Forest universe theory. I'm very aware of it. Anyway, I don't think it's aliens. It's probably just another Chinese surveillance balloon. But God, this global conflict stuff, it's a little bit of a scary proposition, isn't it, guys? Stay safe out there.